Ladies and gentlemen, wow, what a great day this is. This is the inaugural podcast show for the Sociable. And, I'm just so excited about what we're going to be doing, the conversations we're going to be having, the journeys we're going to take people on all around what people are doing to connect as family, to connect as friends, to just connect as a community all around. And through our podcast, we're going to have conversations with, yes, chefs on how they bring, their journey of food together in a sociable experience. But also we're going to hang out with entrepreneurs because those great men and women are very, very near and dear to my heart. And we sometimes forget about them actually enjoying life. And so welcome to the Sociable. It's all about enjoying life. And, I love our first guest. She and I had met, oh my gosh, I'm going to say about 3 months ago. And we connected on LinkedIn. It was all beautiful, all kinds of fun, but she has got spunk, she has got moxie, and she has got drive and just the right energy to be the very first guest on the Sociable, which of course is sponsored by cheftorial.com. Amanda Engler, welcome to the Sociable podcast.
Thank you so much. And what an honor to be the first guest. I am
first.
Seriously, thank you so much. And that's a little bit of pressure, right? I can't screw it up. My goodness.
Yeah, you up for it? You up for it?
Yes, I am.
Totally why you were chosen right there. Exactly. Well, it's true. You kind of go through that whole mindset about, okay, well, who should be the first? And, I'm a believer in the universe and a believer of messages from above. And I was thinking of my first guest, and somehow you and I were talking, and I just remember that energy and that drive. And of course, the great contributions and elements you're doing with your business. So let's start off with that. Let's kind of set the groundwork. Let's kind of set the picture of telling us about your business, because you're working in a virtual space, the virtual event space, and engaging virtually is part of what you do for your livelihood. So can you take us on a bit of a journey of that?
Sure. Yeah. So what I do right now is I help women who love planning and organizing to stop the hustle and the struggle by introducing them to the profitable world of virtual events. So I have been planning virtual events for the last 3 years. I like to say I've been planning virtual events before they were necessary.
Yeah, you were. Absolutely.
And so now I teach mothers, women, working moms who want to start their own business, to start a profitable business in the world of virtual events by, giving them my best practices and all the things that I've had to learn the hard way, and all the things that really work in business, in motherhood, and in the virtual event space. And to your point, engagement and really creating an experience, I like to call it like a journey of transformation through these virtual is so key to ROI for our clients, ROI for our own businesses, and just making it a good event, making it fun for everyone.
Well, I was on your website before we get started. You and I were joking about how I thought you were actually on my Zoom call when actually I was looking at your website video, and I was like, "What?" And so I still think that's kind of funny. So one of the you lay out the value that your clients get in working with you, and it's just immense. By the way, before I get started, how can people get a hold of you? Because this is pretty key for your target audience, moms, working women who want to do what it is that you're offering and connect with you. So I don't want to forget, how do they get in touch with you?
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, so they can actually go to virtualeventunlock.com. They can join my Facebook community. I do live trainings in there. The community is Event Professional, Explode Your Profits, Protect Your Time. And they can just email me. I would love to talk to them. It's hello@Amanda, V as in Victor, Engler, LLC.com.
Engler. Now that's EN, correct?
Yes, ENGLER. Yep.
Perfect. Now, one thing, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, you want to get powerful, impactful emails from somebody, hang out with this woman, because it's like, pow, they come to you and they're so fun. I look so forward to getting emails from Amanda, and they are so much fun. So anyway, that's great stuff. We'll reconvene at the end to kind of do a regroup on that, but I just wanted to make sure that I remember to do that. So one of the offerings you bring is this networking piece of your community, and can you talk about the value of that you're seeing to coming to your members of your business?
Sure. So in terms of virtual events and networking, that's just such an important piece, and it ties in really nicely with what Cheftorial is doing. Because when you can't take what you've been doing in face-to-face meetings and put it in a virtual space. We know that doesn't work.
Right.
And so as we tie in these different pieces to vary throughout the day, again, we're taking people on this journey. We don't want to lose them. There's so many distractions from home, and having something to look forward to, like a networking piece that is interactive, like what Cheftorial does. I've had the privilege to be a part of Cheftorial and experience what they do, and it is so awesome and so great. And I really encourage. You're welcome. I mean every word.
Yes, you do. Yeah, I know it's sincere.
Thank you. And what I encourage my clients to do is put yourself in the attendee's shoes. Right. Yes, we have a lot of content and a lot of good information, but when you really sit and try to experience it from their perspective, you can see how important adding these different elements are.
I love it. I love it. So I want to dive now into your life as Amanda, the entrepreneur when she's not being an entrepreneur, because obviously you do an amazing job in galvanizing community, connecting with them, engaging with them, and really, of course, bringing that value that's you're bringing all the emotions attached to it. But tell us about the other side of Amanda, because you got 2 kids, you're obviously got lots of friends and so on. What are some of the ways, like this is the Sociable podcast. So how do you engage with leisure activities? What are some of the things that you love to do as an entrepreneur to quote unquote relax?
That is an awesome question. And I think as entrepreneurs, I guess it depends on it, like if you're laid back entrepreneur or if you're kind of high strung. I am more on the, well, I guess I'd say I'm a happy, like I'm a planner, so I like schedules and regimentation. So like I have very clear outline times of when I'm going to be fully focused in work, and I communicate that to my family because I do work from home and I work around my schedules. So I work in the morning hours before they're awake, if they wake up early, because kids do that.
Yeah. And well, the younger kids do. As they get older, they don't wake up early. They wake up at 3 p.m.
I can't wait for those days.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Christmas time's a lot different when they're teenagers.
Yeah. So they know the rules that when it's 7 o'clock, there's a light that turns green, and they know that that's when they can come to me. And they are at the age that they're very self-sufficient, that they can be like going potty on their own and things like that. So like at a good age. Cool. And then when that's done, I keep that promise to them. I keep my promise to myself that I'm going to be done with work at that time. Right. And so then I show up. So it takes a lot of practice to let go, because as entrepreneurs, right, we have this like going on in our mind. But then it's like full go mom mode, like Amanda mode, and like wife mode, like you said, like wife, mom, and personal, like
friend, right? Friend, daughter, all those things.
Friend, all of the pieces. And so for me, it's about incorporating as many of those together as possible, because that's when I'm the happiest, when I have friends around, when I have my family around, when we're outside. Like my kids know, like even if it's a rainy day, if it's a really snowy, cold day, like we're in Michigan, so it gets like down to the negatives most of the time in the winter. Like we're still going for a walk. Like we are taking the dog, we are going outside, and we are going to like have family conversations while we're walking outside, and being as active as possible. So very active, running. And then of course, like when it's socially appropriate, we love to have friends and family. My parents actually live in California.
Right.
And so they will drive to Michigan and stay with us for 2 weeks when they come. So
I love it. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about when you bring your family together. What does that look like? What is the social atmosphere of that? Let's pretend it's a Sunday and everybody's together. Do you have rituals that you follow? Do you have traditions? Do you have favorite food? Like we posted on the Chaptorial webpage today. You know, what's your favorite memory of food when you were a kid? I remember mine was Friday nights. It was the night I was allowed to drink pop. It was the night that we all came together, and my dad, as my stepdad, my best friend, he'd come home with the pizza, and we all sit together for this hour and drink pop and pizza, and then just watch a movie together on TV. And that was so special to us. Do you have a special memory from your childhood around food and gathering as a family?
yeah, actually, my mom would like cook for us 6 nights a week, except for Friday.
Okay.
The adults cocktail night. So my dad would come home and like pour himself a crown. My mom would have herself a glass of wine, and they would make this huge spread in the living room of like a charcuterie board of all these yummy things. Like even as kids, like we could appreciate it because it was really good brie, salami. And so like we would just gather around in the living room and just like have conversations and watch shows. I mean, when I was a kid, TGIF was like really big on ABC.
Yeah, of course.
Not dating myself or anything.
You know, I could date even further back. You go, my friend. It's all good. It's all good.
And what's been fun as now that I've become a mom and being able to like, you know, do some of those things for my kids. When quarantine started last year, we actually started a movie night. And so movie night usually includes, we make a homemade pizza together.
Yeah. Okay. So how does that work? Tell us how that process works when you're making the pizza together.
So yeah, we do it a couple of different ways. It kind of depends on what the kids are feeling like. If they want their own little personal pizzas, or if they want like one big pizza and we kind of just collaborate, or they get like a section of the pizza. We'll have to divvy it up sometimes because
so I gotta put and so it's important. I want to give perspective perspective to our audience. Your kids are young kids. I think they were on the Chaptorial when you joined, were they not?
They were, and they love cooking. My son has like 3 cookbooks already.
Nice.
He's going to be 7, and then my daughter's going to be 4 this year.
Lovely. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So, okay. So you're making pizzas together. Sorry. Continue on, please.
Yeah, good. Very good. And so we'll bring the stool out, and they have their own aprons and everything. Actually, my son has my apron from when I was a kid.
Nice.
And so we get in there, and we have a local pizza shop that will sell you dough balls. So we buy all of the ingredients. We stop by, we get the dough ball on our way home. We make the pizza. We lay out a big picnic blanket in the living room, and we eat the pizza. We make popcorn, make our own popcorn seasonings, and like we hang out and chill and move. Like we all vote for a movie of the night. Sometimes the dog gets to pick the movie.
Yeah. So tell me about that. Okay. So tell me about the voting process. This is so cool. I love it. I mean, obviously you're a very family oriented person, which is fabulous. And that's the way you like to sociable. And I haven't even explained what a sociable means to this audience yet. I'll do that for sure, because you know what it is. But, you know, I think that's so cool with the picnic idea and so on. But how do you choose the movie? How's that whole process work?
So my husband is very into knowing, like, I don't know how he knows this, but he's always knowing these are out and new and like hip with the kids.
I love it.
He'll pull up a few, and then we'll just kind of play by ear, right? Like, okay, who wants this movie? If it's like 3 or 4, and we'll, you know, do the voting with the raising of the hands. And if it's tied, we grab 2 of the same treats, and we say, this one represents this movie and this one represents this movie, and whichever one the dog goes to first, like that's the one we're watching.
Neat. So, how's been the voting going so far? Excuse me, with excuse me, with the dog involved. Is the dog always chosen what you want, or is the dog kind of like, do you kind of scent the treats a certain way so you get the movie you want?
I wish. I've been wanting to watch Mulan for so long. I see the trailers and I tear up. I don't know what it is about that movie, but I cannot wait to see it.
It's a great movie. I remember watching it as a cartoon when I was a kid, and I absolutely loved it. Actually, I think it was more my kids that we watched it together. But yeah, I loved the whole cartoon around it. So, what's some of the conversations that you go through? I mean, I can just see your kids. I mean, obviously, your whole family really enjoys it. But how does the conversation flow happen?
So yeah, we'll sit down and get prepped, and I always really like to ask my kids about failure. And I know that sounds like really harsh.
No,
like,
it's not. Way to go. High five.
Thank you. So my husband and I, like, we have our pizza, we have our drinks. I like a good vodka water, and my husband is really into bourbon. He's like into that this
really?
year.
That's so interesting. Yes. That's so cool.
I smell it and it makes me like cringe, but no offense to any of the bourbon drinkers. But so when we're sitting around, like, kind of talking about the movies and figuring things out, what we're gonna look at for the night, we also talk about, looking at the week and like, what did you fail at today? And because we talked about it so much and normalized it so much, it doesn't sound it doesn't sound bad. Like, it doesn't.
Yeah, there's no trauma associated with it.
Right, exactly. And so my daughter is pretty young to understand what that means, and like doesn't really participate as actively as my son, who is at that age, who's like, well, and he's
what's his name?
Silas. So Silas,
okay, I love it.
Very he's a smart kid. He really he reads nonfiction books.
Yes.
And he is very practical. We're very similar.
That's why you just said he's a very smart kid.
Exactly. Give myself a compliment.
Yes.
So he has all these investment ideas and like what he wants to sell at his popsicle stand. And he's like, well, I asked some friends at school if they would want to buy this, if I made it, and no one really wanted to buy it. So I'm going to go back to the drawing board and think about something different. 7 yet. I'm like, that's like the kind of feedback I don't ask for. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, it's, with kids, of course, it's a matter of like, I can do it versus I can't do it. And so I love that that he's identified. And, I get asked sometimes, do you think entrepreneurs are made or they're born? And I'm a firm believer that you have a better opportunity of being a long-term successful entrepreneur if you're kind of born into a family of entrepreneurs. So he's obviously been born into one, and so it's natural that he's taken that on. So that's cool. Love it. So Friday nights are your deal. You get together, the picnic thing. Do you do that every Friday, or does it switch up like in the summertime, in the wintertime?
So yeah, in the summer, because in Michigan, our summers are so much shorter.
You're talking to a Canadian here, Amanda.
Yeah, so it's like fleeting, and so sometimes we'll switch it to the beach in the summertime.
Right.
So we'll just go hang out at the beach. Our friends will meet up. So like, we have our bubble of friends that we still continue to hang out with, and my husband. We're very fortunate to live in an area where we have most of our restaurants are open. They're like 50% capacity. And so my in-laws actually live down the street. And so they can alternate, like if it's a Friday night and there's something going on that we want to be able to go do, like a brewery just opened up down the street, then my in-laws are so kind and generous to spend and do those kind of movie nights with the kids so that we can go out. And have some alone time as adults, but also get those like, that sociable experience and like just feel a part of the community and other people around you, people you may not know. And kind of have that normalcy.
Do you find that do you find and you're a virtual events professional, do you find that now going out because of the journey that we've been through the past year when we're I mean, I was at a pub last week with a buddy of mine and the music was playing and everybody was just so into it. Like, do you find you're stimulated now at a whole new level because of the appreciation of being able to enjoy what you used to take for granted, but you couldn't in the past year?
Yeah, totally. I look at my phone so much less when
Ah,
I'm out, and people watch so much more. Not that I'm judging or whatever. It's just like I'm always curious what like other people are doing now, whereas before I might have had my blinders on a little bit.
right. So what are you experiencing? What are you experiencing when you watch people, Amanda?
Oh, yeah, it's so also my family and I over spring break went to Arizona. Uh,
Okay.
and in the travel experience and kind of just on that whole topic of like how people are socializing and interacting, and everyone is still very friendly, which is
Right.
nice. I was worried that people were going to be very standoffish and very like, you're in my bubble, because right, like if you're out with two kids or you're traveling with two kids, whatever, like the kids are going to stay out of their bubble. They're just going to like be kids and get all over the place.
Right.
They do.
Yeah, they do, right? It's
But
lovely.
it, whenever like me and my husband go out for date night, it just seems like almost normal, but I never noticed before. Like people are still socializing when they sit down at the table, they take their masks off, right? And it's just, I don't know, I guess it's more interesting to see. It's like fresh eyes,
Right.
say. Yeah.
So, I wanted to talk about, oh my gosh, I had the question on the tip of my tongue and what was it? It was a really good question. So, well, I'll sure I'll get back to it. So, oh yeah, date night. That's what I wanted to talk about. So, I think this is so, people who aren't entrepreneurs and they hear about entrepreneurs doing date night, they kind of say, well, that kind of takes the romance out of it. It kind of takes, because I'm not on someone's schedule. So what do you say? Because you obviously recognize it with you and your husband. What's his name?
Grant.
Grant. Okay, you and Grant have recognized the importance of doing this. So what do you say to entrepreneurs who are maybe dealing with that significant other that says, I don't want to feel scheduled. Why do I have to, so why can't we just kind of be natural with it and just kind of say, let's go out tonight? What's kind of your response to them? And if they were in your group, how would you respond to them?
Sure. Yeah. Well, if you don't schedule it, you won't ever make time.
Yeah, there it is right there.
That's hard truth, right? Like I'm a pretty scheduled person, so it's easy for me, but I understand that feeling of wanting to just have some freedom and also some spontaneity,
Yes.
and let whatever happens that night be spontaneous. Figure it out as you go, but at least set the time, set the intention to
Wow.
each other.
Yeah, I love that point you're making. So it's okay to schedule it and appreciating the spontaneity. So everybody can kind of get the best of both worlds with that. I just hear that a lot. It takes it's too structured, therefore it's not as enjoyable. But I love the reference point about once it's booked, it's going to be spontaneous after that. Very, very cool.
Yeah.
So vodka and water is your go-to.
Yeah, with lemon and lime.
With lemon and lime. I love it. Very cool. And so it sounds to me, well, let me ask you this question. We got a couple more questions and then we're going to do, just to raise the glass, we're going to do a sociable. But what's your most memorable sociable experience amongst friends that you and your husband have experienced, you and Grant have experienced in the past year?
I think it was actually the first time that we had friends over for dinner and drinks. Like they brought their kids and we kind of all just came together, and it was like the first in the last year, so it was like the first time we could come back when it was like people said it was safe. We could start reaching out to a bubble, like we weren't quarantined, right?
Right.
And it was just like, all of us probably got way too drunk, and like, we were just so excited to see each other. And we played, which you might do this, and we play euchre. It's a
Yes.
game. Okay, it's a card game.
Yep.
And so like the adults are playing euchre and drinking and socializing, having this really good time. Kids are like running around down in the basement, causing all kinds of heck.
Yeah.
And it's just so fun. It was like just that reconnection of friends, like friends that are family, and just around food. And there's just something really special that happens when you have friends and food and drinks. It just comes, like you said, it's that sociable experience. It's that celebration of life.
Yep. And the center of it all usually is food and beverage. That's the beautiful. I mean, no matter where you go in the world, it doesn't really matter whether you're in the mountains of the Andes or in the middle of New York City. That's typically where sociables happen, is around food and beverage. And I know that we've experienced that with the Cheftorials for sure. So here's your next question. Now, this one's a very deep question. Okay, it may take you a while to come up with an answer with this, and it's okay. We can pause for a bit while you think about this answer. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Are you a cupcake girl or a muffin girl?
Oh, this is easy.
What?
Muffin girl all the way.
No way. We can't hang out. We can't hang out.
Oh no. I am like, well, okay, so check this out.
Okay.
I am a muffin, like warmed up with butter type of person. Like I go very much on the savory side.
Nice.
I'm having a cupcake, I'm taking the frosting off. Like I wanted it, but
wow. Yeah. Well, I tell you what, if we are hanging out, you give me your frosting, I'll double up on my cupcake.
There you go.
I love it. So, Amanda, tell us again about how do people get a hold of, oh, I know. So there was one other question, and this is relevant to your business as we kind of close the conversation today. So how do you recommend, besides obviously what we're doing with Cheftorial, what are some other ways that you're finding are great ways for people to socialize using virtual as a way to do it? Not business. I'm talking social now.
Yeah. Well, I really love what Cheftorial's doing, and I keep coming back to this because it's really a great solution for breaking up the day and having those mini breaks that you do where you can have a snack and come together. And you know, when you're participating in an activity, you're giving people something to do, but in a way that feels really natural and human for them.
Yes.
And then it's like resetting, plus you're feeding them. It's like a 3-in-1 bonus in one session, and then ending with a network night where you can like learn cocktails. And like when the Cheftorial that we did was taco nights, and I loved it because it was like such a clean menu too. And so like I do Whole30 often and frequently. Like I love really being conscious about what we put in our bodies and what we put in our kids' bodies. And so while we still eat muffins, and that first night that our friends—
That doesn't sound like it, vodka and muffins.
Right? Like all over the board.
Funny.
And so we had taco night, but it was so dietary friendly. So like there was no sugar. There was no, you know, I mean, except for the alcohol if you wanted the tequila and the cocktail. But I was doing Whole30 then, and I made myself a Whole30 meal, and then the kids got the tortilla and the churro, and you know, my husband had that. I think I might have had wine that night. I cheated, but
it's okay to do that.
yeah. So it was a really fun experience, and I just love how friendly it is for everyone. And there was even options for vegetarians that night.
Yeah.
So it was very good.
Well, you know, ladies and gentlemen, this wasn't intentional to talk about Cheftorial, but thank you for bringing that up, Amanda. I appreciate it. And I think the whole reference point is that virtually, if you can engage the people you're talking to in their physical environment with activity, with smells, with laughing, all those other. So physically, they are really immersed into it, but they're still connecting into a digital community. I think that's when you really start to win the game. So
it's an anchor to anchor them back to that moment in time.
right,
And if you
right,
can bring the physical and the virtual together, it's a win. They're
right
getting
on.
more reach, more visibility, and your attendees are getting, again, that anchor, that moment in time to bring them back to have that connectivity, even though we're apart.
Right on. Very cool. So, Amanda, go back again. How do people get a hold of you? Because I think it's important, particularly for those that are obviously within your target niche, to connect with you because of all the magic professionally you're bringing them, but obviously as a friend along their journey too. I think there's value in that. So, tell us how we get a hold of you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. I do the most training and the most connecting with all of the women in the Facebook community, Event Professionals, Explode Your Profits and Protect Your Time. I'm hanging out in there all the time. So that's the Facebook community. You can go to my website, which is virtualeventunlocked.com, or you can email me, hello@Amanda, V as in Victor, Engler, ENGLER, LLC.com.
Fantastic. And so let's kind of close with the story of the Sociable, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, is that Chef Toriel is an East Coast company. And on the East Coast, we have a tradition. And the tradition, anybody can participate in the tradition. I'm talking the East Coast of Canada. It's very specific to our part of the world. It's rare that I find anybody else around the planet who has experienced this. This is why we love to really take ownership of it. And we raise our glass and we just yell the word sociable. It doesn't have to be alcohol. Kids can be there with their sippy cups. They can have pop. You can have milkshakes. You can have vodka. You can have bourbon. You can have my favorite, which is rum and Coke. Oh my God, what a dangerous drink. But you know, all of that. And you raise your glass and anybody can yell it. And whether you're in a bar, anybody can yell it. I've been at situations where the band leader just yells sociable, and I've been in homes where we do it in round tables, and the kids love it too. So that's what this is all about, yelling sociable, saying, let's all celebrate being together around friends and family, around food and beverage and music and all the enjoyable parts of life. Besides work, nothing wrong with work, but this is the play side of it that we're referencing today. So Amanda, you did an awesome job. High five to you, my friend, for doing an amazing job. So yeah, we got a sociable. So I'm going to unvideo here just so you can see me do the sociable. So sociable. You were amazing, my friend, and incredible. We'll always have this memory of you being the first one. And thank you again so much for your time today.
Thank you so much for having me. This was so fun.
Cool stuff. Talk to you soon.
Thanks. Bye.
All right.